you so much for joining us today here at this beautiful ranch. And I want to extend a warm thank you to Rossi. She is the owner of this beautiful ranch. It's fantastic, and its mission is very empowering. Yellow Woman's Ranch, please check it out if you would so like. And today I'm here, I want to welcome you all, and I'm going to be talking about Tai Chi. I've spoken to a couple of you here. Do you have any experiences in Tai Chi? Okay, good.
Zero.
Okay, good. So I will be talking a little bit about philosophy, a little bit then what are the roots of Tai Chi, and then I will be talking about how it's beneficial for the times that we're living in. And I'm also going to be giving you a demo because I will be teaching a class beginning next week. And it's going to be an 8 sessions classes where we will dive into the principles that I will be talking today about. So I think of Tai Chi as an ancient technology for optimizing body, mind, and spirit. So I'm going to be giving you a lot of different definitions of Tai Chi because it depends on what perspective you're looking at. So it's also the art, it's the science, it's the practice, and it's also the philosophy of finding out who you are and operating from your center. All of those are very hefty and lofty words, right? Operating from the center and knowing who you are. So a little bit of history. Tai Chi is rooted in Taoism. Chinese philosophers, after intense and careful observation of nature, discovered certain principles. And one of those principles was that we're living in a continuous change. There's a balance of opposites in this world that is operating underneath everything. And they call this principle a grand ultimate, and this is what Tai Chi stands for.
Called it what?
Grand ultimate.
Oh.
Grand
And
ultimate.
is Tai Chi different than Tai Chi?
The same thing.
Oh, okay.
It's pronounced differently, and I'm sure our Western pronunciation is not even close
Okay,
to what
all
it
right.
really is.
The grand ultimate.
It's a grand ultimate, yes. And so this is, it's a principle that can be applied to everything, and this is why they say that it's a lot of avenues of our life can benefit from applying this principle, and this is what I will be talking to you today about. So you've probably also seen this diagram, right? It's called the Tai Chi diagram, and it symbolizes the continuous change and transformation of two opposite forces. But there's also this S curve that a lot of times is being omitted, and that stands for stillness, finding stillness in chaos, finding stillness in movement, because this stillness has infinite potential. And this is what is referring in Tai Chi as coming to one center. So it is also said that Tai Chi, alchemy of a transformation, but the goal is to achieve harmony through balance. And those are through the balance of opposites. And a lot of times, you probably saw the Tai Chi movements, right? This choreography is beautiful, right? It seems effortless. You know, the flexibility is amazing. You're thinking, how in the world, that's so nice, you know, how can I use it in my life? And this idea of balance and operating from the center, this is what I feel the absolute jewel of Tai Chi, and what can do, especially for people who are looking balance, you know. A little bit of research or statistics for you. By the age of 50, we lose 20% of sensation in our feet, and we need to apply, our feet get deep sensitized, and we need to apply 20% more pressure to feel our feet. By the age of 85, we need to apply 75% more pressure to feel our feet. And this is why a lot of times I call it when we're saging, we start feeling our feet. And because a lot of real estate in the head is connected to our feet, we get a disconnect. The information, we stop perceiving the information from the feet, and it doesn't help us with any of our movements. So with Tai Chi, one of the principles is grounding, relaxing down, deeply rooting into the ground. So just like a tree, you have a stable base. And now I'll be talking a little bit more about balance. So in order for us to have balance, we need to find, first of all, we need to feel our body, right? If we don't feel our body, we don't even know where the center of balance is. And what is it? First and foremost, it's a physical center of gravity. Where is our center of gravity? And if our center is off, like if we have a center, right, and we're thrown in space, we're going to be revolving around that center. So this is why it's so essential to know where that center is for the reason which I'll be mentioning later. So the anatomical center is, if you draw the line from the top of your head to the perineum, it's a straight line here. And if it's 2 inches, 1 inch below your navel, and you draw a straight line to your back, so that creates this intersection, right? So it makes it right there. And in Chinese medicine, that's one of the energetic centers. So this is your center of gravity. If the center is moved to the front, we're easily toppled over. So a lot of the balance has to do with our alignment. And I talked a little bit about the underlying philosophy, that it was coming from the Taoism, from the study of nature, and how we can connect, not disconnect from what's out there, but how we can connect to it and apply those principles for operating as best as we can. Because ultimately in Tai Chi, it's about doing more with less of the energy. How can I stack my body in such an alignment that I don't use an extra force? Because when my bones are aligned and stacked, the body is not pulled to any way, and I'm resting in the center, and it also helps me relax. That's one of the biggest principles. And you hear about the relaxation a lot in nowadays world, right? And the reason why it's so important is very practical for it. It's because it helps us to identify tension. We cannot change something that we cannot feel. As my teacher says, you cannot heal what you don't feel. So that's why a lot of it has to do with releasing tension. There's other tensions. Some are hidden and some are visible. And the goal of Tai Chi is through relaxation to identify those tensions in the body and find the way of letting go. Because if you ask yourself what it is to actually relax, like what comes to mind? Is it reading? Is it sitting by the TV and reading? Is it drinking a glass of wine? Like, that's a really good question, right? For me, relaxation is letting go. When I can surrender something that constricts me. It's either my thinking, it's either my breathing, it's either my emotions that causing me to tense up, or it might be the actual physical tension, like all of us know when we throw our back. So I wanted to exemplify what the tension does to us. So most of us here know that we are vibrational beings, right? There's an orchestra that is going on inside of us, right? And so it's very important for the sound to travel through us, because it's one of the qualities. Every cell has a vibration and a frequency to it. So if I strike that bowl, there's going to be a beautiful sound, right? I'm going to strike it one more time, and then I'm going to apply tension to it. That's what the tension does to us. It obstructs the energetic flow. It might be the flow of information too, and ultimately it creates a very rigid perception of what's going on with us. So that's that. All right, so I talked about the tension of the body. And so one of the goals is to relax down. So, and in that you're stacking all of your bones. So those are the energetic principles. In Tai Chi, as I was saying, it's not the choreography, it's how you can apply those energetic principles. And we were talking about how to find the center. We need to feel our bodies. So right now, as you're sitting, I invite you to close your eyes. And I want you to feel your body. I want you to scan your body and notice the areas that you cannot feel for whatever reason. See if you can feel with your back. How much of your back can you feel? Can you feel your eyeballs? Can you feel your toes? Are you relaxed in the chair? Can you feel your pineal gland?
What is that?
It's the wonderful gland that is in the center of our brain. Let me rephrase it. Can you feel your brain? Can you feel your circulation? And now I invite you to open your eyes halfway, like 50%. See how much can you feel. And now at 50%. Feeling a little bit different. So this is what Tai Chi helps you to do. Ultimately, it works on your body mechanics first, then it gets you in touch with the energy. Because when we're tensing up, we're disconnected from the energy flow. We cannot feel it because we're not in touch with what's under our feet. We literally cannot. We desensitize our feet. And this is why in Tai Chi, we spend so much time in opening our feet and flattening our feet and moving under the ground. And I'll be demonstrating it a little bit later. And so this is the tension of the body. The tension of the mind, what do you do with the tension of the mind? What's the quickest way to get the tension of the mind out? It's actually to task it, to make it an observer. So when we found the center of gravity, which is this, you put your mind in there and you task it, feel everything inside of here. And then even further, you drop your mind deeper into the ground. When you're shifting under the ground, you're tasking your mind to start developing a feeling sensations. And then that feeling sensation starts to get you in touch with the energy. So you're using clues at first to develop the feeling sensations, and then as they become stronger, you're starting to get in touch with the energy itself. So that's number two. Mechanics, the energetic principles of life force, and now we're going to talk about the perceptive awareness, which is our essentially connection to everything. Like, can we feel our back? Can we, when we're in a state of fear and we're in a state of tension, can we make the right decision? It's really difficult, right? But when we open this is what Tai Chi helps with. It uses the forms and it's using the special sequences that I'll be showing you today. So you can feel the energy directly, and it can help you to open up not only the space inside your body, but also around your body, because we do not exist in isolation. Our body takes a shape, it has a size, it has a weight, and this is our reference point. This is where we start. It's an alchemical container that teaches us who we are. And this is why Tai Chi is called the grand ultimate, because you don't need to believe in anything. You have this vehicle, this alembic to study, and then to say, okay, this is the tension here. I can drop it using those principles, and then I feel connection to my own center, and from that center I can connect to everybody. ultimately Tai Chi helps us to stop operating from our old stories. And this is how it frees the energy. So in the center of this dot, this is who you are. This is how you came into this world. You're this beautiful light. And then life hits you, just like life hits us all. It's a given, it's on a to-do list, it's nothing personal. And you start to develop a certain emotion surrounding it. Fear, anger, shame, resentment, you name it. And based on those emotions and what you're being taught by your culture and your family, your nurture, you start to develop a certain beliefs and certain stories about how this world is and how the energy flows. And it also, you start to define yourself, what is it that you can and cannot do based on those stories that you've been told and you start believing in. And because of that, you start to operate in this world from masks. Masks that actually your blind spots, they do not give you a clear perception of what's going on because it's a very myopic, limited version of what is actually helping. So with Tai Chi, what it helps you do, it helps you to identify all of this and ask yourself where I'm operating from. Am I operating from the masks, from the beliefs and stories? Do I wanna react from the fear, anger, and shame, or do I wanna strip it down, come to my center and listen? First and foremost, listen, because when we listen, there's a chance for us to connect with somebody else. There's a beautiful saying, I forgot the author, she says, an enemy is somebody whose story we didn't hear. And I think it's so important in our world now, with so much hatred and animosity circling around and weaponized opinions, to start listening a little bit more. And in order to listen, you have to surrender your bias, you have to surrender your judgment, extrapolation, interpretation, all of those things, and Tai Chi helps you with that. So, with that in mind, I want to move into some of the exercises. So I'm going to show you the workout that typically we would do, and then I'm going to teach you one exercise, which is called pulling down heavens, and you can be seated for it. Okay. And I'm gonna start talking with an energetic principles first. So we have a lot of them, but 3 are the major ones. And first one is relax down. So when I somewhat was talking about that, essentially you're dropping all of your weight in your feet and you feel like you're going even deeper. In order to do this, you need to feel your toes, you need to flatten your toes, and you need to relax your toes. They cannot be crunched like this because then you're disconnected. So it's the energy of Mother Earth that is beneath us, and we want to feel gravity. We operate in gravity 24/7, and yet we rarely think about it. So relax down, expand out. This has to do with the perceptive sensations, and connect up. So connect up to what? Well, that's up to you. What do you connect up? In Taoism, that's the energy of heavens. You can fill in the blank, whatever your concept of the divine is. You're not isolated here, so connect up. And the principle of elongating the spine becomes really important. The principles of dropping down the tension. So we're using tucks and pushes. One of the first tucks is the pelvic tuck, because it actually helps you to align your back properly and flatten it. And it's also a push from the crown up. And what it does, it literally elongates your back, elongates your spine. And those are the very important principles that we're operating from. The way how the class goes, I'll typically start with some warm-ups. So we're gonna warm up all of the joints. A lot of times, this is where the rigidity is, and I'm finding that as a body worker, I was doing a massage for 13 years now, I'm finding that people don't even know how their joints can move because there's such a rigid approach to everything that we just don't know that the rib cage is actually supposed to move, or how the shoulder is supposed to articulate, or how the hips move. And we lose when we stop using some of the physiology. It affects the way how we feel and how we think. So Tai Chi helps you to mobilize this. All right, so with the warm-ups, say this is the warm-up for the wrists. And notice how when I'm moving, it's like my whole body is moving. I don't do this. I move under the ground, I shift weight, and we shift the weight also a certain way. It's at 45 degrees because if I do this, I lose my balance. So this is how the principle of balance becomes essential. How can I move and don't lose my balance? And it's 45 degrees, 45 degrees, 45 degrees, everything moves. And Tai Chi says that you draw the energy from the earth through the legs, then the waist steers it, and it's being expressed by the hands. So this is why it looks so fluid, because it's the body moving as one, and it's also understanding how the energy is moving through you. So the body becomes a container, and the form becomes a way for you to learn how the energy moves. So moving all of the joints, shoulders, hips, right? And hips supposed to rotate. Notice how my knees are not moving, but I can do this, it's not a problem, right? But to have the knees stable and to rotate the hips, it's a different story. So learning all of this, knees, gonna do the rotations. So warm up, we start with stillness also. We set the intention for the class, whatever you want to learn, and then we'll go into actual structure. We'll learn how to move under the ground. You do start to do the shifts where you visualize you're doing the half pipe. And it's important how everything is stacked. So the vector from my knee goes into the vector of my heel. The vector from my hip goes into the vector of my heel, and at the same time my spine is elongated and I'm stretched out. So if you were to talk to a professional trainer, they would say, oh yeah, you're working with fascia. Does anybody know what fascia is? Okay. Fascia is like a suit. It's a network, it's a connective tissue that lies under your skin, and it interpenetrates the muscles. And now they're finding so many good things are happening in fascia. That's where your acupuncture meridians are. That's where some of the neural pathways are. And fascia responds to rhythm. So, and a lot of in Tai Chi, with the movements, they're very rhythmic. Then we say add the folding of the door, where we start to use our hips in a certain way. So this is all of the weight now is on my leg, on my left leg, and on my right leg, and the left is just opening like a hinge. So those are all the preparations. I'm gonna do it on the other side to be balanced. One more time, see, everything is moving at once, because we're going to be studying also 6 harmonies. In Tai Chi, it's shoulders and hips move together, feet and hands also, elbows and knees, and also your point above the brows and your navel point. It moves in once. So we've done the warm-ups, we've done some structure, and then we're going to go into static and dynamic postures. So I'll be demonstrating a couple of them. And typically what we do, we alternate. We'll do dynamic posture first, and then we will do a static posture. So everything matters, even the way how you come into the posture. So you load the leg first, open the other one, step at 45. It's very strategic. Don't worry about the low stance. There's a low basin like this, there's a mid basin, and there's higher basin. You can even do it seated, so it's not important. Don't worry, it's like I cannot do this move. So in this position here, the first movement I'm going to show you is called pulling in skills. Chinese are very poetic with their names, and it's very flowery, and I don't know why they call it this way. But in essence, it helps you to move the energy in a specific way. So I'm moving under the ground and I'm transferring the energy. And at the same time, I'm relaxing. I am elongating my spine, and I'm hanging my muscles. So the goal is not to power through or muscle through something. It's actually to relax and to let your fascia help you, help your suit. To move. All right? So this is the movement one, and then we'll do the static one, and I'm going to show you the one, it's called the crouching tiger. So in this posture here, my weight is 70% on this leg and 30% on this leg. I'm using certain principles of posture that actually help me to suspend my muscles. I'm using my back as a bridge to kind of hang the flesh, and this is here a rounded shape. And I'm visualizing that I'm pinning the head of the tiger. And at the same time, I'm breathing a certain way, and I'm feeling in the tensions of my body. My back leg might start burning in just a little bit, but I'm finding the way how to distribute that pressure. You can do it higher. You can do it higher. The goal is to learn how does it feel for my back muscle to have 70% of the weight, to be connected to the ground, to be connected up, and to also start feeling, what do I feel in the back? Do I feel my body first and foremost? I feel my body. Do I feel my bones stacked up? Yes, I do. Can I feel what's happening in the back of me? So that's how Tai Chi helps you to develop a perceptive awareness. It tasks your mind a certain way, and then you can run the experiment. Okay, the crouching tiger. Now I'm going to show you polishing mirrors. So the movement here is horizontal. So we're learning how to move the energy into the horizontal plane. And then the opposite. And notice I'm not bobbing up and down. My weight is transferred under the ground. And I'm going to be breathing a certain way too, but that's later. I'm going to be exhaling on the out, inhaling on the in. All right, the next one is going to be, it's called the single whip, and it's going to be the opposite of the crouching tiger. So in this posture here, 70% of my weight is on the front leg. So it's the opposite of the crouching tiger. I have 45 degrees here. And I'm breathing. My elbow, my right elbow is connected to my right knee. One more time, I'm suspending my muscles. I'm learning how can I hold this posture for a little bit or for a while and relax under pressure. So Tai Chi, one of the essential skills it's teaching you, no matter what's happening in your life, it's safe to relax under pressure. And this is one of the best things that you can do. You can relax under pressure, you can breathe, you can find your center, and you can keep it. All right. Next one I'm going to show you is called snake creeping down. I know, we're in the year of a snake. So, here I'm swooping down. And I'm watching my transitions. When I'm all connected and I'm stacked up, I'm making sure that I'm not getting stuck in any of the transitions. Exhale. Inhale. And so you do those postures for about one minute each. And then we pair it, this one we pair with the dragon posture, which is a little bit complicated, but it's beautiful. So I'm gonna share it with you. With this one, you kind of step a little bit different. Stepping the same way. Alignment of the knee in Tai Chi, they protect the knees at all costs. So alignment of the knees is super important to prevent damages. So the coiling dragon. This is one of the most difficult posture in Tai Chi. But it's like ringing all of your muscles and all of your fascia. And you still keep the postures, the rules of postures. Feels great. Okay, and the next one I'm going to show you called Lazily About Tying Coat. Also very colorful. So in this one, we'll do the opposite circles. So the energy is moving, they call it a negative and positive circles. Can I feel my back? Can I feel my center? Can I make everything move from my center? Yes, I can. And we pair it with the golden rooster, which is one of my favorite postures, because you see the balance of, in Tai Chi, balance of opposites, right? So one moves up, another one goes down. So, golden rooster. So in this posture, my right leg is pressing down and pushing the ground away from me, where the left leg is pushing up. And the same thing is happening with my hands. One is pressing down, another one is pushing up. So that creates this spiraling effect, where it's the union of opposites that sparks up the consciousness. People ask, okay, so what's the big deal of unifying the opposites? It's consciousness. How can you keep your balance? Can you close your eyes with this? Maybe. All right. All right, and so we'll do. There's 5 static and 5 dynamic postures, and we circulate them. And towards the end, there's a couple of other moves. What's our time, Rossi?
We're at 10:41.
10:41. Thank you. So we'll do these different ways of stepping, which I'm not going to be showing much today, but I want to show you a symbol tracing. So, because this is considered not only just a diagram, but also a talisman that you can start writing. So, from this position here. So I'm dividing it in sections, and I allow my hands to trace it down. Then I do the fishtail, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I can even slow it down. Do fast ones, and then I slow down again. So by altering speed, you find out more where your tensions are. The slower you do it, the more your body would like to complain. Because it was like, I am resisting, I don't want to do this, this is silly. But then it's an ultimate guide to where your tensions are. And then when you know your tensions, you can release them. Simple tracing. And, yeah.
So graceful.
Very
beautiful.
strong.
So I prefer to do it in the lower basin because that helps me connect with the ground more, and also, but for meditative purposes, I do it higher. So it depends. It doesn't mean that you can do it in the lower stance. You can do it in this stance. You can close your eyes and you can feel every movement. Because when we start using attention and intention, this is where the magic starts to happen. Our mind is being tasked. We start to feel more of what we're doing, and we're getting out of our own way. As my teacher says, we have a ridiculous task of getting out our own way.
I think we all have that.
Amen. And so towards the end, so we started the workout in stillness, set the intention, we did the workout, and we're gonna ending it in stillness too. And this is where we do the meditations. So we visualize the energy ball between our hands. This kind of shows you how it's supposed to be. So, and I start breathing into the energy ball. And as I'm breathing into the energy ball, I'm visualizing, just do it in such a way that I don't lose this. There we go. I'm visualizing that I'm opening my joints. And that's the concept that is, you'll hear in Tai Chi about opening the joints. And what it means, at first you imagine the space between the joints. So if you take your index finger now, and if you just look at it and say, okay, I want to create more space between like my first knuckle, right? And you just like, okay, I'm gonna concentrate my energy there, and I'm just gonna gently imagine like I can stretch it open, just like I'm doing here. Stretch it open without tension. It's not the muscular effort. It's just breathing into that space and feeling like it can extend. Somebody feel a bit of a tingling in the finger?
Yes.
That's
Feel
it.
heat.
That's the energy. That's all it is. People make it so complicated. It's not. It's just about focusing. It's like people are telling me, "Oh, I don't have time," and I tell them, "Time is not the problem. Your constraint is your choices. You just choose not to feel certain things." So we do this meditation where we're creating this energetic ball between our hands. Then we create it inside the lower abdomen. Then we create it around us, and it's just progressive meditation, but it starts simple. And towards the end, we stop in stillness. It's called holding the immortal pose, where it's a certain position, certain alignment that allows for the bones to be completely stacked. So I am using very little muscle force. Even though it seems like I'm holding my arms, but my shoulders actually down in my sockets. It's the principle when something in Tai Chi, when it's a down, there must be an up. So my shoulders are down, but my hands are up. And I'm visualizing that I have this energy ball inside, and I'm holding it. And I'm releasing all my tension. I'm relaxing into the ground. I'm feeling into where my tensions are, and I'm choosing. Maybe just even asking question, how can I relax this more? That is still that's a wonderful question to ask, and it precipitates change. The more we change our state, if we combine those states when they're changed, this creates a transformation. It's just a mathematical equation. Many changed states create a transformation. All right, and then we end with the prayer. So that's essentially the workout that I'll be teaching. And right now, I want to give you a gift. I want to teach you an exercise. Whenever you're feeling you're in distress, upset, or just need to get something off your chest, it's called pulling down heavens. So the visualization for this is that you are gathering the energy from the earth. You're gathering the energy from the heavens, and you're piping it through you with the sound ha, and you're just channeling it, like combing through your whole body and dispersing it into the earth. So the way how it looks, I'm gonna do it standing. So inhale the energy of the earth, inhale the energy of heavens. It's a descending ha sound. So you feel like the whole thing is just combed through. Inhale, visualize your fingers are magnetic. Inhale, inhale, inhale. Turn, inhale from the heavens. Do you want to try it with me seated?
We stand?
Okay. Yes, or you can stand, whichever one is easier for you. Just make sure you have plenty of space around you. Alright, yeah. So with your knees, I'd like you to try something. So it's not per se, your knees cannot be straight, they need to be softened, but it's not about squatting. It's about tucking your butt cheeks under. So it's as simple as this. It's not squatting. We want less effort. So tuck the butt cheeks under. Feel how your lower back becomes flatter when you do that. Okay. Now open. Imagine there's like you're in the water and you're pressing the log and then you're letting it go. And move. Inhale the energy. And then turn up. Inhale more from heavens. And then comb it through you. All the way through the feet and down to the earth. One more time. Inhale. Inhale. Open your eyes. How are you feeling?
Relaxed.